for the many years we've been doing the show, we've called JD's nickname has been Dunstradamus. And I think that comes to fruition again tonight because over the last 2 months of our draft specials and just talking about leading up to the draft, who was the guy that the Chiefs needed to target. And there was one guy that JD said, and that was Josh Simmons. The Chiefs were going to draft a tackle. There was only one guy in this draft to get, and that was Josh Simmons. And tonight, with a 32nd pick of this draft, because the Chiefs traded one spot back to get a 5th-round pick from the Eagles, the Chiefs selected potentially the left tackle of the future for the Kansas City Chiefs in Josh Simmons from the Ohio State University. JD, Teja, what was your reaction when you saw everything kind of play out in this draft and Josh Simmons get to that 32nd spot for us to draft him?
Man, I stood up and had a nice little fist pump. My wife was sitting there looking at me like, is that who you want? I said, yeah, that's exactly it. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. And the thing is, I just knew that the Chiefs had to go after an offensive tackle. And reality is, look, number one priority is protect PM15. Patrick Mahomes in the back. And I said that the other day, and it's true. They know that. They know that this is how the game and the everything goes through Patrick Mahomes, period, and point blank. And so when I was just looking over, scoping all the tackles in the draft, Simmons just stuck out to me for everything that he was able to do, his attributes, his athletic ability, his physicality, all of those different things. And I was sitting there thinking, like, there's no reason to wonder about your tackles right now. It's not. So they did a due diligence on him. I'm glad. I'm happy. So that's where I was at, man. Shoot, this is perfect. This is perfect for us.
Yeah, the stars aligned perfectly tonight the way the draft went. It's still like, and I see the people in the chat there at Barbershop, so much talent left in this draft. It's crazy. The talent, it just continued to go. There's so many guys. I mean, it came down to our pick. We're like, we were talking about, is it going to be Harmon? Is it Simmons? Is it James Pierce? We didn't even get to Mike Green even potentially being there last night we did our mock draft. So we never even talked about Mike Green because we didn't think it was even a possibility for him to be there. But then when we get to our pick tonight, it's Simmons or Mike Green. Like, whoa, you can make a case for Mike Green being taken to the spot. But, Josh Simmons, like we said, don't grow on trees. And otherwise, Josh Simmons, if he doesn't get that injury, he's possibly top tackle taken in this draft, never even sniffs Kansas City. We would have to trade up a lot of picks to go up to get him. So it was a no-brainer to get Josh Simmons. But the way the stars aligned for us to get him today, unreal. And then getting a 5th-round pick on top of that, on top of getting him. It's just unreal the way things kind of, I guess the script was right. I guess the script writers were helping the Kansas City Chiefs out again.
Yeah. I'm so happy the Eagles wanted Campbell that badly, too. They were trying to trade for him from 22 up. So I'm glad they wanted to at least get one up there. We got our 5th rounder, boys. I said there's no way in hell we are going to end this draft without a 5th rounder. And we couldn't even make it out of the 1st round without getting it back. We were just trying to get that thing back so bad. 164, that's fantastic. It's probably going to end up being our running back, by the way. My guess, hot take right now. Simmons, it's awesome. It's amazing to hear someone's name. It's actually rare just to hear the one guy's name throughout the offseason of everyone's favorite player to get. And you go out and you get him, you stay at your pick and you get him. It's crazy, right? And we even trade back one to get him.
Yeah.
I'm really happy about that. I mean, I know I argued for Connerly yesterday, but that was also because Simmons didn't make it in our mock draft to us. If you look at my mock draft, I had Simmons in my mock draft. So I love the pick. I think we're a perfect place for him to go because we don't necessarily need him to come in and start right away. So I don't want to rush him back. This year, number one, is not the most important year we need for him. We need him to be good for the next, hopefully, 7 to 10 years, right? And then some, if everything goes well. So I don't want to rush him back. That's a tricky knee injury. But, man, if he's healthy at some point and someone's struggling, Moore is not what we wanted him to be. Taylor needs to be yanked for whatever reason. we got a guy who can come right in and play, man. So it's a very we went from having like not enough tackle depth to great tackle depth now, if you think about it. So yeah, his player counts are interesting, right? He's got Christian Darrisaw, Russell Okung, and another guy you guys know of, DJ Humphries, another one.
DJ Humphries is Pro Bowl years, his prime years, not last year.
Yeah, not fresh off the knee injury or a hamstring injury now.
Yeah.
But yeah, great. I mean, I'm elated.
So talking about because we talked about his injury, right? So he suffered. He played 5 games and then he suffered the patella injury. But there's reports this week, I think as of yesterday, Teja, you were telling me about before we came on, that he had been cleared with a lot of teams. Teams were okay, and they thought he was going to be able to play the start of this year. And we're talking about not rushing him, but this is a team, and I'll say this: the Chiefs aren't afraid to start rookies. And if he looks like the guy in camp, we saw it last year with King Suma. We saw it a few years ago with Trey Smith when he was a 6th-round guy who had medical red flags. We didn't know if we got a steal or not, and then when he comes out in camp, dominates. So it's like one of those things. If he does look good in camp, I don't see them kind of holding him back. Obviously, we need to see what happens in camp. But if he does look like the top 10 talent, then I could see him playing this year. But what do you guys? Obviously, we don't want to rush him back. He's not ready. But do you guys see there's a chance that he could play this year?
I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, I'd love to see what he can do. But like you said, it's all determined on how he feels physically. And like you said, there's no sense of rushing him back, especially we have 2 guys, right? And Juwan Taylor starting right tackle and Jalen Moore starting left tackle. I think part of the problem was if either one of those guys got hurt, now you're going to start kind of wringing your hands a little bit and start biting your fingernails off because it's like, okay, can some other guys come here and hold up? Now you got a guy that can play both positions if you need him to. And you've seen that he was able to do it very well. So that's one thing that I love about it is because you don't have to start him right away. You get him some reps, get him to where he is. He's playing. He's comfortable. They're comfortable saying, okay, we could put this guy in. And like you said, if something does happen and everybody's not playing well, you got a plug and play guy. No question about it. And I don't think anybody questions his talent. And that's the thing about it. It was always just his knee. That was it. It's the injury in itself, right? And so if everybody's been saying that he's, ahead of where he's supposed to be as far as his healing, he's a young guy. It's a beautiful thing. And so they just had to be patient with him. He's got all the tools. He has every one of them. If his knee wasn't hurt, he'd be a day 1 starter. Absolutely.
He tackled 1, probably.
Yeah, no question. No question.
He was already most people's tackle 2 anyway. So even with the knee, he was most people's tackle 2. So
yeah. And I seen somebody was sitting there saying, watch when they seen his highlights. I'm just like, yeah, that's what I've been looking at, seriously for the past few months is watching how he just comes in there, man, and he is just physically dominating people. I mean, absolutely just road grading these jokers. And he's out there. You see him running. He's physical. He's quick. He's got speed. He's great in space. And the thing is, he's hawking linebackers down. I mean, to stalk a linebacker down and get your hands on him, that's hard for a tackle to do. So the thing is, he's just athletic enough, man, that he can actually stalk guys like that down at that position. That's a rare thing to see.
The notes I had on him from all my listening this offseason was always set up, always balanced, athletic, always moving his feet, always keeps his feet under him, improved a lot from last year to this one. Fast feet, hand quickness, balanced, always does the right thing, needs to get a little stronger, but so low and spread out before the snap and then explodes and moves back like a crouching tiger ready to attack stance.
Yeah. I think that's what stood out to me probably, Tage, more than anything else, was his kickback and how smooth it was.
Yeah, he's so low and ready.
Low. And that's another thing. Because, tall guys really don't want to bend. But you see him get down in the stance. It was like it felt comfortable to him. He's like, I'd rather be down here there as opposed to up here. And so that's going to be tough for a defensive end to try to strike a guy like that who likes to get down and try to bend. He's like, I'm already down here. So what are you going to do now? So I mean, I'm sitting there. That's what really stood out to me. I'm just, man, look at this guy's kicks. His kick step. I mean, it is nice. It's perfect. I mean, technique sound. Shoot, I'm like, man, he's clean. He is clean in that regard.
I wonder if he looks so good at left tackle. Sorry, Marks, go ahead.
No, go for it. No, go for it. I was going to ask you to say what the quote was from the sources about his injury prognosis as of right now.
Yeah, I can do that. There was two. One of them just said teams don't seem concerned about his long-term availability as they anticipate he'll be ready around the start of the season. And then I think the other one said something very similar. I think it was more about his medical. It was a medical update. Insiders share medical. Yeah, there it is. It's have indicated his knee looks great upon medical rechecks. So he passes that. And that was from, I think, a couple days ago. Yeah, it's from 2 days ago.
I mean, that's good news.
It's great news.
Yeah. I think he just came in so late. Maybe it's just tough to reeval all your guys. Like if you got this far and you're happy with your board, it's tough just to scrap it with 1 day left before the draft to be like, whoa, Simmons' knee checks out good. All right, let's move him up like 15 spots. You know what I mean? It's just so hard to do that so late. I'm sure they do that. We heard stories from today about, people falling in love with guys the day before the draft. I think it was Pearson in Atlanta. So it does happen. What I was going to say earlier was if he looks like we don't see it practices, right? But if he's just killing it in practice and they're like, you know what? Let's say there's a perfect storm of he's killing it in practice and Kingsley doesn't look great at left guard. Do you maybe try to shuffle things around? Do you maybe try to say, all right, let's get Simmons at left tackle. Maybe we can move more to left guard to play. Maybe, I mean, guard's not one of those giant tackles who doesn't look like he has it. He's almost kind of built more like a guard if you look at him.
Yeah, I think, man, King Suma is probably, he'll have somebody on the outside and inside of him. I think he'll fit just right at guard.
I hope so. It'd be great to have.
Yeah, I don't think he'll have any issues and any problems as far as in that small space. It's always, I think, with him, when I was looking at him, is being on the island by himself, trying to kick back against guys that are speed rushers. Now he has a chance to kind of really, kind of jump set him a little bit and get their hands on him right now. That's going to help him out tremendously. And, he's powerful enough. He's big enough. I think he's perfect guard that can play in the NFL. I think it will probably be his position, natural position right now. So I think he'll be happy. We'll be impressed to watch King Suma play guard, man. Seriously,
I hope so.
Yeah.
Because I tried looking up a lot of his reports last year and just to see if anyone ever mentioned guard with him, and no one ever did. It was always tackle.
Mm-hmm.
So I do hope so. I hope they see something there, and they must, right? So I'm hoping that is a thing.
Well, here's the thing with that though, too, Tej, and that's what, like, sometimes when we hear these guys out here talking, teams look at it and say, hey man, look, we're gonna move him down to guard. Like, he might be a tackle, but for us, he'll fit at guard better for what we want to do with this scheme. I think any of them wanted to try him out at tackle and it didn't quite work and they didn't look like what they thought it was going to look like. Joe Tooney, that's why they pushed Joe out. I ain't going to say they pushed him out the door, but they was okay with Joe going and saying, let's move King Suma down to that position. I think because they trust him. And he has to get some confidence, and I think that will help him out, having somebody, a tackle on the outside and the guard or center like Creed Humphrey inside of him. That's going to help him out tremendously. Sarah071 says, I hear a few Chiefs radio guys at draft were disappointed. Am I missing something? I could care less, Sarah. To be honest with you, who cares? Just be mad. Let them be mad all they want to. Okay?
It's because after guys they fall in love with, if they don't get them, no one likes being wrong. So it's obviously the Chiefs' fault for not doing what they said.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It wasn't no smoke and mirrors. I heard about all the smoke and mirrors. They're going after Josh Simmons. And I'm just like, I think they love this guy. I would. Been talking about how good he is. I think they realize that. And so I get, and here's the great thing is, because of the depth, and you talking about the type of talent that's still out there on the board, you're going to be able to get some really good guys at defensive end and defensive line that we still need. And I was just sitting there saying that tier 1, right, needs OT, defensive end, defensive tackle. That's our tier. This next tomorrow,
all right,
we're gonna start seeing it. We're gonna see some guys roll off, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes just the level of talent of guys there. I think there's some guys a lot closer than with each other than others think that they are. So,
mock draft time.
Well, I think it's funny seeing the KC radio guys, whatever, like you said, whatever. I saw, and I know a lot of people are big Luther Burden fans, but I feel like a lot of people have a little homer mentality when it comes to a lot of drafting these guys. Like, Luther Burden, he's a Missouri guy. I'd love to have him. It's great. There's plenty of other guys, K-State dudes, KU guys, Missouri guys we can maybe get later on in the draft. But this was an actual need. And again, this is a top 10 talent that any other year this guy wasn't hurt. He would not be at 32 where he picked. And again, like you said, the smoke and mirrors aspect, all offseason we heard Albert B reporting, the Chiefs want Josh Connerly, Josh Simmons. Those are the two guys they want. If they're not there, they'll go for the best edge available. I mean, it's pretty much been out there this entire time. Connerly goes a few picks before us, and then Simmons last to where we are, and we luckily got him. We lucked out. I mean, we should be very happy. Everybody in the media world, fans, everyone should be happy about this pick because we finally got a guy who will be that left tackle next to Patrick Mahomes. And even Patrick Mahomes tweeting the sunglasses emoji. I mean, 5 minutes before the pick, he tweets the sunglasses emoji. He was happy, man. He knows he finally has a guy that he can rely on and grow with into the next 10 years.
Well, Marcus, look, listen, Patrick Mahomes want to throw the ball around. Okay, they've been talking about the things he hadn't been able to do. He's been running around, getting his ankle and stuff hurt. Now he has protection. Like, let's make this clear. Patrick Mahomes wants to throw the football. And so for him to do that, he needs protection. He can't worry about his backside. He can't be worried he's coming off the end, trying to rip his throat out. And so now he's sitting back and saying, now we got the weapons around me that I could throw the ball and air it out. Okay, I got speed all around. Hollywood Brown, Rice when he comes back, and we got Xavier Worthy, right? And I'm sure we probably pick up as another wide receiver somewhere in the draft. Okay, I'm sure we will. So, and then we're going to get probably another good running back as well. So those things, priority-wise, protect Patrick Mahomes. That was the number one mission for the Chiefs. We got to make sure 15 stays upright. Pure and simple. That's it.
Yeah, I think we go across the board. I think we'd say if we had a grade this, we'll get to grades on our Monday show, but A+. I'm assuming all three of you guys say A+ for this pick. I mean, I think everything about this was A+. Getting the fifth, and then also getting need. Talk about need, and then best player potentially. You can make the argument even with the injury. You can make the argument as best left tackle in this draft. Still, I know where he's ranked, 2, but you can make the argument. When he's healthy, he's the number 1 left tackle in this draft, and number 2 with this injury. So I mean, A+++ for this one.
Beach 303 says A+. Appreciate you, Beach 303. True Champ said this is the pick I've wanted for months. Right there with you, True Champ. Enrique Trulio, yo man, I know you got to get up at 4:30 in the morning, man, but I'm glad you stayed up, Enrique. A++++, my guy. That's what we got. So congratulations to everybody out here who wanted a guy like this to understand, for the long term, what we're thinking about, okay? The long term is making sure PM15 is here. That's it. And he's upright. So I think that was we succeeded, right? We succeeded.
The one question I want to throw at you guys, which is something that obviously we talked about what the sources are saying about his injury and that he's progressing nicely. The one thing is I have seen online, and I think there's a simple answer to this, but a lot of fans are saying, if Simmons was better than Connerly, why is he going to 32? What do teams know that we don't, that Simmons is slipping past Connerly? Is his injury worse than we thought? I would say my simple answer to this, we don't know, obviously, in the specifics. My simple answer would be Connerly, we know for 100% that he'll be ready to go day one. Whether it's good or not, they know right away they want a guy who's going to come in and start right away. With Simmons, you may have to go with a little bit, put some kid gloves on just because he's suffering from coming back from injury. You don't have to throw him in the fire right away with our situation. So maybe that's why. That's the only thing I can think of. But why do you think? Because that's the one thing I've seen online. It's if he's healthy, then why is he going at 32 if he's better than Connerly? That's the one thing I've seen.
I agree with you 100%. That's exactly what it is. So if you do have to push him around a little bit and baby him somewhat and let him get healthy before he could become that dog, then that's what we want. We know what we want to get. There's no sense rushing a guy back to potential re-injured or a setback for no reason, right? Because you just wanted to put him out there. There's no sense in doing that. So we got guys here. There was a reason we paid, Jalen Moore a lot of money. He got paid a lot of money now. Okay, let's make this clear. We didn't pay him a lot of money just to sit on the sideline and hold a daggone, a play pad. We ain't doing that. Okay, Joker's here to earn his money, his paycheck. So I think this was, like I said before, this is just the foresight of just seeing like, man, we got a guy that's here. So we know he's a guy of the future. Why would we sit there and just, try to push him to get out there? No sense in doing that. So, no, perfectly said, Marcus. Perfectly said.
And also, too, this comes out because I live in the D.C. area. A lot of my friends are Commanders fans. Jared Mitchell, Commanders have tons, so they don't need Connerly right away. Well, Connerly, they believe that he'll be competing with Wiley for the right side of that offensive line there, because Wiley has been one of their weakest spots of their offensive line. Go figure, a guy who started for us in the Super Bowl is one of the weakest spots for them on the right side. So, yeah, Connerly will be competing for the right side with the Commanders. So that's why they drafted him, to fill out a line and to protect their young quarterback as well. So every team is trying to do that right away. So
I'm also not surprised, and I don't think it has to be. It's always an or an or. Conner's a good prospect. I know some people disagree, and it becomes like a my guy versus your guy thing, but I never thought Connerly was a bad prospect. So him going at 28, it doesn't mean Simmons is less by any means, or it's like what's wrong with him in that case. I don't think I tried to look at it that way. I some guys have a certain system in mind. Connerly had a lot of tape. He had over almost 1,100 pass blocking snaps. That's a lot. If you like what you've seen out of that, maybe you can consider Connerly maybe a higher floor because you've seen him do it for longer. Simmons is probably the higher ceiling. You never know. Every management's different. If they want a guy who they've seen do it for 3 straight years, but he's never dominant, but he looks pretty good, we know we're going to get a long-term tackle out of this, then that's what they want. They're going to get that. If you want a guy who you think could be your just dominant left tackle, then you might go for someone else. There's a ceiling. There's a floor you have to consider. So I just don't. Yeah, I don't think Simmons is any worse because a team went Connerly earlier. I'm not that surprised by it, to be honest with you.
No, look, you want a guy to destroy who's going to come in and dominate, right? And I think Josh Simmons is that. So if you had to be a little patient to get that out there, then do that. I think the Chiefs recognized it, and that's what they took. Connerly, like I said, I think he's a good tackle. He'll come in. They want to start somewhere. I don't know how he's going to look. I just don't know. I thought if he came here, he might struggle a little bit. It's going to be a little bit of growing pains. When I was sitting there listening to Michael Parsons talk about it, and he's sitting there saying, like, man, I'm sitting over here, I'm salivating right now, and I'm ready to go after some of these young guys that's out there. So it wouldn't be no different with Connerly or Simmons. But for guys that know there's a new tackle coming in town, they're just thinking about like taking them to the task. They just kind of go out there and embarrass them. And so, that assertion that Simmons was not better than him talent-wise or whatever, that's not true. I think it is exactly what you said it was, Marcus, or how you saying it, Tej, is that, the different scenarios for each team is different, how you want it. So that's good, though. That's good.
You could ask a lot of teams if they thought Green was better than Pierce, and I guarantee you a lot would say he is. Pierce got selected earlier by a round. So, you never know. A lot of people didn't have Tyreek Williams going in the first round. He did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it happened.
That was mind-blowing.
It's scheme, it's fit, it's how risky you want to be with your pick. Some teams don't want to risk it. How many picks do you have in that draft? You need to make sure you hit on all of them. There's a lot of factors. So it's just there's so much of the NFL draft that's more than just who's better today. That's not what it's about, really.
Yeah. I just think they was eyeing Simmons the whole time. And they were just like, man, if he's not going to be there, then we'll have to go, with the contingency pick. But this is who they wanted. It was like no question. You seen Andy Reid and those guys, they were sitting there relaxed like, oh, shoot, we got our guy. Yeah, we can move back because we know you're not going to get Simmons, right, with Philly. To be honest, I don't even know why Philly just gave up. I'm like, okay. It just, hey,
weird.
Philly and Kansas City, man. You know how we know those guys got a nice relationship. So this is maybe a little slap on the back. Like, there you go. Appreciate it.
Maybe they were worried about us trading out someone in the second who wanted to move up for Campbell. Maybe. I don't know. That's weird. Why move up one when we're not going Campbell? It's like, hey, it's fantastic. That's one of the deals of the night. I mean, obviously the Atlanta haul. But besides that, moving back one selection and getting a 164 in this draft, we basically traded, let's just say, our zone read home run hitting running back and Simmons for one pick, for one move down. It's amazing. It's amazing. Fantastic.
Yeah.
for a position we weren't even really eyeing. It'd be one thing if it was like, maybe a D end or a D tackle, obviously not on tackle. They weren't going to go Simmons, but like they went for a position we weren't going to go for. So I don't get that. I don't get that. And a fifth too, not a sixth. And they have 1,000,007, I think, in this draft too.
164 in this draft. It's a good pick, man.
We traded for one of those last night in our mock draft for this for the running back. So yeah, it's huge.
Man, we got a long history with Philly, man. There's long history. So it's just a little bit of, hey man, we're gonna take care of a little wink here, like we got you. Okay, we can do it.
Philly does have a lot of picks in this draft.
They do. Yes, they do.
Yeah. You don't give those away for nothing, I guess.
Yeah, the next 2 years they have the most picks in the NFL draft, next year and this year. So Howie's built himself an assortment.
Nafis, what do you think? Nafis, man, we love the pick. That's how we feel over here at Chiefs Concerns. That's what we've been talking about, is getting a Josh Simmons here. Nafis, so yeah.
They have 3 fifths.
Still? After that?
They have 3 fifths.
Oh, okay. JD, we did have a question from our guy, Illy Beeman. He was asking about the severity of patella injuries, I believe. Let me get the wording.
No, they do still have 3 fifths, I think. That's crazy.
Yeah. How bad is a patellar tendon injury scale 1 through 10, JD?
I've seen a couple of guys that had it, and I've seen guys come back. Matter of fact, Rodney Peete, quarterback, he tore his patella tendon when I played with him. He was able to come back. I don't know if he came back the rest of the year, but the very next year he came back, no problem. Moved around great. So these things do happen. So I don't know, 1 to 10 scale. I don't know how I would rate it, Illy Beeman, to be honest. What I just looked up is the guys that actually that had the injury and was able to come back and still be effective playing, like actually to their old selves. So this is, new technology is always something as well that we bank on, guys getting better. And so I think this is something very encouraging to see that he is on his way, actually ahead of the game as far as in his healing process. So I think he's going to be fine. If he wasn't fine, man, they wouldn't have chosen him. They wouldn't have picked him. Put it that way.
Yeah. Gotta say, we even when we did the mock draft last time, we were all hoping that Simmons would be there, and he wasn't there, right? So we kind of had to grit our way around the Connerly James Pierce conversation. We ended up getting better. That's why mock drafts are fun, because then you get to see the worst case scenario, right? You can see, oh no, if this guy's not there, but then the best case fell in our lap tonight, getting Josh Simmons to be our bookend left tackle for the next 10 years, hopefully the next decade. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.